I have no regrets.
On this week's edition of the Rebel Report, the UNLV football team is looking for a new head coach and still battled for the Fremont Cannon. We bring you all the news from what happened during the game and after. Plus, the Vegas Golden Knights are suddenly hot. We break down their last couple of games and see just what has made things start to click for them. Also, we bring you the history of Las Vegas' very own UFC, as well as the story of a senior volleyball player. All this and more on this week's edition of the Rebel Report.
Welcome to our second to last episode of this season's Rebel Report. I'm Sam Mann.
And I'm Tony Pascone. Thanks for tuning in on KCLV Channel 2 and on our various platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and our website rebelreportunlv.com, where you can watch some extra content.
We will have a great show for you today as we cover UNLV and local sports around the Valley.
To start off our show, we need to talk about the biggest news happening that took place right here before we left campus on our Thanksgiving break. This season, UNLV football not only said goodbye to Sam Boyd Stadium, but the team also said farewell to head coach Tony Sanchez.
That's right. Sanchez will no longer be leading the UNLV football team as head coach. The university decided to part ways with him after this underwhelming 4-8 season. Our very own Naomi Brown gives us more on the university's decision.
Monday, November 25th, UNLV announced that after 5 seasons with the Rebels, head football coach Tony Sanchez would part ways with the university.
I have no regrets in any single thing that I've done. Nothing. There's nothing I would go back and do differently.
But in the years before college football, Sanchez coached at Bishop Gorman High School here in Las Vegas, Nevada from 2009 to 2014. Sanchez led Gorman to the Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association 4A championship every season. And he left Gorman with an outstanding overall record of 85 wins and 5 losses. After succeeding at Bishop Gorman, UNLV gave Sanchez the opportunity to bring his winning ways to the collegiate level. But coaching college football seemed to come with new challenges. After 5 whole seasons at UNLV, Sanchez is leaving the program with 20 wins and 40 losses.
Based upon that evaluation of everything from the wins and losses and where we were headed next, we just felt a change was in order. We had to look at the overall trajectory and where we were going next. And so after 5 years and then looking at that record, we made that decision.
He coached his last game with the Rebels against Reno November 30th, defeating the Wolfpack 33-30 and keeping the Fremont Cannon scarlet red. Sanchez expressed some of his disappointment in not being able to continue on with the program.
This is not something that I wanted, but in competitive Division I athletics, it's part of the life, right? So my legacy here, I don't know. That's not for me to say. All I know is I showed up to work every day, worked as hard as I could. We made a difference. Again, I said all those things earlier. In every department that they asked us to, we got better. Obviously not enough. That's why we're standing here today, right now.
Athletic Director Desiree Reed-Francois is grateful for all that Sanchez has done for UNLV football.
What he has done for Las Vegas football, both the 5 years here at UNLV and the 6 years at Bishop Gorman, can't be overstated. I'm very grateful for the way that he has handled himself, and he has made this job better.
But in his time at UNLV, Sanchez helped to get the Rebels their brand new state-of-the-art facility. The Fertitta football complex is now a huge aspect in UNLV's recruiting process. The university is looking ahead and now conducting a national search for a new head coach.
We need our next head coach to be a ball coach. Someone who lives and breathes and sleeps UNLV football. Someone who is prepared and has worked their way up. Someone with a plan and the discipline to execute that plan so that progress is evident.
Tony Sanchez has brought a lot to UNLV's football program, and the new Fertitta complex will continue to bring talented athletes to Las Vegas. Whoever the university decides to hire as the new head coach, they will certainly be set for years down the line. And it doesn't hurt that the team will be playing in 2020 at Allegiant Stadium alongside the Las Vegas Raiders.
The UNLV football team sent Sanchez off with the win against their main rivals from up north, and things got rather spicy towards the end. In overtime, 33-30 on Kenyon Oblad's 19-yard touchdown pass to freshman receiver Steve Jenkins. Rivalry games always bring out the biggest emotions, and UNLV led throughout the first half, but Nevada made a comeback and eventually forced the game into overtime, adding more drama to an already drama-filled affair. And just like in every rivalry game, a little bit of taunting came out after, and maybe some players and fans didn't take it too well. There was a lot of pushing and shoving, and there's even reports of a fan taking a Rebel player's helmet off when he got too close to the stands. Journalists covering the game were also caught in the crossfire, as the Review Journal's videographer says that she was hit with a bottle that came from the stands. Thankfully for everybody involved, nobody was seriously injured. The Mountain West Conference says that they are investigating the melee, and it's unknown what kind of punishments will be brought down, if any. The Rebels will have a new football coach next season, and we will see if the fireworks happen again at the brand new Allegiant Stadium, as Nevada is due to battle for the Fremont Cannon right here in Las Vegas in 2020.
Now let's take it to the courts as the UNLV Runnin Rebels split their previous two games, defeating Jackson State 80-57 and losing to Cincinnati 72-56. They now stand 3-6 overall.
However, the UNLV Lady Rebels have had their trials and tribulations as they've opened their season with a 2-4 record. Here's Deontay Hagler with more on this story.
Tuesday, December 3rd, the Lady Rebels tipped off their third Mountain West opener against the Fresno State Bulldogs. Early on in the game, Fresno State took an early lead 9-0 before senior guard Letitia Smith scores the team's first points. In addition to Smith scoring the first points, the team's defense gave up too many transition points early on, being down a game high of 16 points going into the half. Despite the team being down 16 points, coming out of the half, senior forward Rajanae Wade and guard Letitia Smith pulled the young team together as Smith recorded the team's high of 19 points and Wade with another double-double performance of 14 points and 13 rebounds despite fouling out late in the critical game. The team showed better energy on both ends of the floor in the second half, just falling short of a win against Fresno State.
We knew that we came out really slow, so once we came in the locker room, we had a focus of just coming out and playing physical and just playing our hardest, we knew that we could take it up a couple of notches, so that was the key focus, is shut them down on defense and let the outcome.
We did a really good job. We looked to trap a little more defensively. Our defense created a lot of our offense, and it just was the reason why we started to catch them.
The UNLV Lady Rebels have now faced the Fresno State Bulldogs 3 times in the Mountain West opener, as they all resulted in losses. For Road Report, I'm Deontay Hagler.
The next game for the Lady Rebels will be on the road against Pepperdine on December 8th.
How would you like to give the ultimate gift this holiday season? You might not be as sly as Santa coming down the chimney, but you can make an impact on someone else's life this Christmas. Here's more. Calling all Rebel fans, the Rebel Athletic Fund is looking for your help to support their 480 student athletes. UNLV runs what's called a Drive for 5, the Rebel Athletic Fund endeavor to reach 5,000 new members by the fall of 2020. And what do they ask for? Just $25 from each and every Rebel fan who's willing to give. All of the proceeds go to help student athletes in supporting their programs, their scholarships, as well as equipment and facilities that they need to get the job done on the field. If you would like to give a tax-deductible gift this year to benefit UNLV student athletes, visit rebelathleticfund.com to find all the information you need on how you can help out your favorite team. And with that, go Rebels! The Rebel Athletic Fund is grateful to all those who support UNLV athletes throughout Drive for 5. Again, if you'd like to donate this year, visit rebelathleticfund.com. It's no surprise that the Golden Knights haven't had the greatest start to this third season, but the team's recent form shows that they want to put the slow start behind them.
Jason Toktajian breaks down the highlights that show the team's recent resurgence, all without Marc-Andre Fleury in net.
Couldn't have started in more dramatic fashion as they took on the Predators in Nashville on November 27th. Thanks to goals by Riley Smith and Mark Stone, the Knights were able to establish a 2-0 advantage with 13 minutes to go in the second period. But a barrage of goals by Nashville saw them eventually grab a 3-2 lead with 18 minutes left in the game. Time was winding down as the Knights started to taste defeat until Max Pacioretty pulled off a goal with 0.3 seconds left in the game to force overtime. In overtime, the Golden Knights pulled off a miraculous comeback as Paul Stastny scored as the game was less than 2 minutes away from a penalty shootout. November 29th saw the Knights host the Coyotes, where all of the game's goals were scored in the second period. The first one by Alex Tuck during a power play, and the last goal scored by Jakob Chychrun of Arizona. The Knights were then forced to a penalty shootout with the score tied at 1-1 after overtime. With a few big saves by Malcolm Subban and the game-winning penalty by Alex Tuck, the Knights picked up the grinded-out victory. The Knights went back on the road on December 2nd and were off to a flying start against New York Rangers as Alex Tuck, who's been on tremendous form, scored 2 goals in the game's first 4 minutes. In the second period, Riley Smith and Max Pacioretty padded the scoreline before Brendan Lemieux pulled back a consolation goal that led to a final score of 4-1. VGK jumped from New York to New Jersey on December 3rd for a duel with the struggling Devils as Kyle Palmieri had the game's first goal to put New Jersey ahead at the end of the first period. The second period saw new Golden Knights player Chandler Stephenson score on his debut for the team after being traded by the Washington Capitals for a 2021 fifth-round draft pick. But Jesper Bratt spoiled the brief celebrations as he scored for the Devils to make it 2-1 with 5 minutes left in the second period. The third period saw a rare occurrence as Jonathan Marchessault scored a hat-trick within just 8.5 minutes of the period. Nico Hischier responded to Marchessault's third goal with a goal of his own just 20 seconds later, but it wasn't enough as the Knights earned the 4-3 victory. Jonathan Marchessault commented on the team's recent run of wins and his astounding individual performance against the Devils.
Yeah, it was a good third period. I think our game went better as we went on, and our third period was huge, and we came out hard and made the right plays at the right time, and Subi obviously kept us in net, kept us in the game, and he was great again. I'm just always trying to make the right plays at the right time. The shot was there, and I was going towards the net, and I think the goalie didn't know where it was exactly, and it was good to get that third goal.
Marc-Andre Fleury missed that stretch of games due to the sudden passing of his father, Andre Fleury, who died November 27th at the age of 63.
You know, sometimes it's nice to take a step away from all the action and glance back at how far sports have come here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had the chance to do earlier this week. So here's a look at one of the hardest hitting sports and how it became a Vegas staple. You know, there's been a lot of talk about professional sports coming to Las Vegas over the last couple of years. But there's one sport that was here long before the rest, the UFC. So today we're doing a 60-second history of the UFC in Vegas. Enjoy. Mixed martial arts started, like most sports, with the Greek Olympic Games, where MMA made its debut back in 648 BC. In 1993, the UFC was founded on one dream: to bring the world's best MMA fighters together to find the ultimate fighting champion. Skip to 2001 when brothers Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta III branched out of the casino business and stepped into the UFC. Just 4 years later, the Ultimate Fighter show launched on Spike TV, gaining a nationwide audience. Then, from 2005 to 2016, the UFC started buying out competitors and making partnerships with Fox Networks, Reebok, and made the T-Mobile Arena its new home base. In 2016, the Fertittas sold UFC to one of the world's largest organizers of sports and entertainment, Endeavor. Which brings us to today, as Las Vegas is home to the UFC quarters and Performance Institute, welcoming world-class fighters to our backyard. And you know, that was probably one of my favorite stories to work on. There's just so much history behind UFC.
I bet, especially with this year marking the 26th anniversary of UFC's founding. Thanks for sharing their story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's time to send things over to this week's Rebel Report Timeout with our reporter, Diamond Williams.
Diamond Williams, here with Operations Manager of KUNB, Dave Norris. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Hi, nice to have you in studio with us today.
I am so happy to be here, Diamond.
Nice. So we are here today. We want to talk about your lacrosse career that many people may not know of you being involved in. So tell me about your career in lacrosse. Like, where did it start?
So my career in lacrosse, for those of you who are not familiar with the game, because it's relatively new on the West Coast, but it's really big on the East Coast. And growing up, especially going to high school on the East Coast, I got involved when I was in high school because my high school had a lacrosse team. Now, what was interesting is when I was a little kid, I played Little League Baseball, I played soccer. Lacrosse wasn't really much of a thing, but I found that my high school had a lacrosse team, and it's a spring sport, and I wasn't loving baseball, so I was like, I'm going to give this a try. I had played football before. It's like they dress up in pads, they get to whack each other with sticks. This looks awesome. Let me give this a shot. And I did, and I fell in love with the game. And that took me throughout high school to college, where my college did not have a Division I program, but we had a club team, and I played club ball for several years, and got me involved in what I currently do with the game, where I officiate, I referee.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have a dream of going past college with lacrosse?
So right now there are actually several professional leagues for the sport. There's the MLL, Major League Lacrosse. There's the PLL, which is a brand new league. They just finished up their first season. And then there's Pro Indoor Lacrosse. I was not that good, Diamond. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I was decent, but I was not going pro, and I knew that. For me, it was much more of an opportunity to play a game that I loved, get some great exercise, meet some fun people, especially when I was in college. I wasn't getting a scholarship to play, but I was playing because I loved the game, and I had more fun playing that sport than any other sport I had ever played, from the time I played t-ball all the way up until 22 years old.
Oh. So what would you say are the biggest benefits of lacrosse for someone who's knows nothing about it?
So they call lacrosse the fastest game on 2 feet, and that is 100% true. I mean, you are moving the entire time. The men's game and the women's game are two very different sports. Men's game is much more a game of physicality, while the women's game is much more a game of finesse and skill. Not that skill and finesse aren't involved in the men's game, but they're just very different in kind of how the games have grown over the years. My experience with the game recently, I've kind of gotten to learn a lot about the women's game, and I think it's just a great sport for a number of reasons. There are 10 people on the men's side of the field per team. There are 12 people on the women's side of the field per team. They are able to work together. You develop teamwork. You get great exercise. You get conditioned. You can work your way around the field, working on all sorts of great athletic building, condition building things. Certainly builds your coordination, and it's fun.
So what made you want to go into being a ref?
So when I was in college, I was, long story short, met somebody who indicated that he was a lacrosse referee, and I had said, well, I play lacrosse, and he says, well, you should come and referee. It's a great way to give back to a sport that you love, and it's a great way to make a little bit extra money on the side. And I was in college, I was like, I love money, I'll make some. That's kind of what got me into it, and throughout the years, I've been doing it for about 15 years right now. I have gotten the opportunity to go to Hawaii and referee lacrosse. I've gone to the East Coast and refereed lacrosse. I've refereed professional players, but more than any of that, it's been a way to give back to a game that I love. So I find the most rewarding getting to work with the little kids, the 5th graders, the 7th graders that are just picking up a stick, that are just learning how to play the game, learning the fundamentals, and saying, you're doing this great, you're doing a great job, here's ways that you can get better. And it's not a matter of penalizing them because they don't know the rules, but really encouraging and supporting them and helping share the love that I have, and hopefully that translates into a love that they have as well.
How do you balance that with your job here at UNLV?
Well, just like everything, it is a balance. And for me, I have the luxury of being able to work with teams, work with other officials. I'm a certified trainer. Kind of when I'm not working here. So games, as you probably remember from high school, they're generally after school, more in the evening or on the weekends. So I'll go out and I'll do a game at 7 o'clock at night, and my wife knows that she's not going to see me and probably until the next morning because she'll be asleep by the time I get home. But during the season, she's just really supportive of that, and I'm very, very grateful. And then on the weekends, it's up to me. If there are tournaments that I want to go work in town, great. I get invited to tournaments out of town that sometimes it can make it work because it's in a cool sounding city. Sometimes I'm like, Des Moines, Iowa in the wintertime, I think I'll pass.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate to have that flexibility too.
Wow, well that's nice. It seems like you're definitely doing a lot right now in your life. So that wraps up Rebel Report Timeout. It was so nice to have you here today, and we'll toss it over to panel.
Thank you, Diamond, and welcome to this week's panel discussion. I'm Carla Lopez, and joining us we have Daria Abazi, Deante Hegler, and Derek Hegna. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, guys, by this point we all know the big sports story at UNLV. Tony Sanchez was let go. What does this mean for UNLV football? And, well, what is the legacy he leaves behind?
You know, I think it was a bittersweet moment when we all found out that he was let go. But like he said himself, it's a competitive Division I program, and I think you got to be the best that you can. So I think the decision that UNLV made was just maybe the best for the school. Coming off short this season, 4-8. You know, they had a rough season in the beginning. You know, finally catching up and winning the last couple games. But I think Tony Sanchez, you know, gave a lot to the school, though. He gave the Fertitta Complex, raised the $34 million for the program, and I think all the athletes love that and thank him for that. But yeah, like, I think new stadium, new head coach. I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, Tony Sanchez has definitely brought in a lot of recruits. He's definitely changed the way that UNLV football definitely accumulates their money. Because he definitely have brought in a lot of money for the program so that they're able to give it back to the players and also the school. But the only great thing he's really done is win against Reno and keep the cannon red twice. So you have to look at it as, like Daria said, bittersweet. It's a definitely bittersweet moment. It's like, dang, he definitely has done some great things here, but also he's done nothing really besides give back to the program.
I mean, I'll definitely agree that it's a bittersweet moment, that change is always something that's hard to come by. But with Sanchez now being fired, this is now a brand new era of UNLV's football program. And frankly, whoever UNLV hires next, it's going to be the biggest coaching decision that they may have ever made, quite frankly. There are now big FCS coaches that could be mentioned. Big-time coordinators from big-name schools such as Utah and Oregon have been mentioned, so it'll be very exciting to see who the next man up is.
Well, guys, and now moving on, the Lights have announced their players for next season. What do you guys think, and how can we finally qualify for playoffs?
You know, I myself was even pretty excited when I heard the announcement of who's coming back, who's not. But I think it is kind of sad that they're not keeping a lot of their players. I mean, they had a great season compared to the past. You know, the Lights always had that bad reputation, and they finally made a name for themselves. I know a lot of it was from Eric Winalda himself. He brought the team. You know, he was a professional soccer player himself. But, you know, I think they got to do the best that's for them. If they got to let go some players, hey, whatever's best for their team.
Yeah, so guys, Mayweather announced in an Instagram post, and I quote, "Coming out of retirement 2020. Do you guys think he's being serious, and is it worth it?"
You know, I think whenever people post like that on Instagram, maybe it's like teasing their followers. You know, like maybe it's for attention. Who knows? Maybe he just wants more attention, saying coming out of retirement. Because, you know, back in 2015, he did the exact same thing and then came back 2 years later to fight McGregor. So I don't know. Maybe, do you guys think he's actually retiring or he's just saying that?
I think he just can't let it go. Like, at this time, just retire. You're getting old, you know, like everybody's going to forget about you someday. You have to be happy with that. And I like Mayweather, but I just don't think he's accepted that role of letting people forget about him in the boxing realm. So I think with him coming back out of retirement would definitely bring in a lot of money because people are going to want to see the fight. And we all know what fight it's going to be. Mayweather, Pacquiao. So if that fight was to happen, I don't think he's going to retire after that, depending on the result.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I've heard, and this is something that I hope almost doesn't happen, is Floyd Mayweather was in talks with Dana White, and there is some rumblings that he may be trying to pursue an MMA career. I don't see it because I think personally that's trying to be the next Brock Lesnar, where you're the next big crossover star in MMA. But for every Lesnar, there's a CM Punk that just completely bombs out. And frankly, boxers have a very tough time because MMA is all about kicks, attacking the legs, going to the ground. Is Mayweather willing to adapt to that game, or is he just going to stand and pray that he lands that shot? I just don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. That's all the time we have for this segment. But stay tuned because coming up, we take a look at UNLV's track and field team, and we remember Antoinette Rolda's time at UNLV.
The UNLV Track and Field recruits some of the top athletes around the world. And to get athletes prepared for their upcoming season requires hard work and dedication.
In order to have a successful season, the team practices daily to prepare in all events that they compete in. Reporter Daria Abbasi had a chance to speak to the team and get their thoughts on the upcoming season.
On here behind the scenes at the UNLV Track and Field as the team prepares for their upcoming season.
The UNLV Track and Field team trains all year round as they prepare for indoor and outdoor track season starting in January. Being a student athlete isn't easy as there are a lot of responsibilities and expectations that many may not know of.
Well, being a student athlete is not an easy job. These young ladies have a lot of demand on them. They have to be able to hold the high level of academic standards as any other student and also be able to fit in there the athletic requirement as well, which is challenging, from study hall to, events that they have to do for the community. So, they have a very hard and strong schedule, but with their endurance and their willingness to listen, they do a great job. So I'm very happy to be here with them. They've shown me not only are they great people, but they're also great rebels.
Even though being a student athlete can be challenging, the family dynamic that this team holds is what drives students like Jasmine Graham to return for another season.
Well, I am the school record holder in the 100 hurdles. I've won conference. While I'm here, I do want to accomplish being an NCAA champion in the 100 hurdles. So that's the biggest goal this year because this is my last season. Coach Wade and Coach Yvonne, both of them have taught us a lot. Just the fact that they want everybody to be a team and, you're only as weak as your weakest link. So it's just, you support one another no matter what. Like if you do good, you still support. If you do bad, you still support. And I think that's the biggest thing that they've taught us and, to always value the people that are around you.
And to be a part of this team, I'm looking for the 3 A's. Athletics, academics, and attitude. Those are the 3 things, and you have to have at least 2 of the 3, for sure. But, we're very particular about the quality of student athletes that we bring here to our team. We have a great squad, and they have good energy, and they're really talented. So we want somebody that's going to bring into that.
The family aspect of the team is what strives them to success. Coming off strong from last season, the team finished 3rd overall at the 2019 Mountain West Outdoor Championship. The Rebels continue to train daily as they prepare for indoor season starting in spring 2020.
Don't forget to support your favorite Rebels as they prepare for their upcoming season. For the Rebel Report, I'm Daria Abbasi.
The team would love all the support they can get as they begin their indoor season in January in Flagstaff, Arizona.
And once the weather warms up, the Rebels start their outdoor season on March 19th, the Spring Invitational here on the home track.
Now, as the year is coming to an end, so is the volleyball season.
That also means that many senior athletes are either continuing to play or simply focusing on their major.
That's right. Reporter Karina Trujillo joins us now in studio with more.
That's right, guys. UNLV Volleyball has had a record-breaking season with 15 conference wins compared to last year's 10 conference wins. Senior Antoinette Rolda reflects back on her time with the team as she will not be returning next season.
I would say what it means to be a UNLV athlete. I think it would be our work ethic, our ability to accept other people. I'd say that our team is very diverse and we have a lot of different personalities. Just having good work ethic and the ability to inspire other people.
From a junior college in California, Antoinette Rolda had to adjust to the bright lights of Las Vegas in the competition at a D1 school.
Coming in, I didn't know a lot of things because of the level that I was playing at beforehand. I mean, playing at a D2, it's not as strict. I had to learn a lot coming in, whether that was in the weight room, or in the gym, or even time management. We do have study hall hours and we take school very seriously besides volleyball. But other than that, yeah, there's a lot of aspects that I had to learn when I came.
For Rolda, there's a deeper meaning to the sport.
Volleyball is more than just the game. It's really reaching out to the community and just building that relationship with other people. Like, these girls really look up to us as their role models. And I think one thing that my coach emphasizes is just have the ability to build relationships outside of our own team.
After playing for 8 years, Rolda is stepping off the court and dedicating her time to other players with the same dream.
Now that I'm done with volleyball, I'm actually not thinking of playing anymore. I think I'm done, yeah. But I am gonna coach a team out here next spring, so I'm excited. It's another way to stay in touch with volleyball. This club team that I'm gonna coach in the springtime, they're called Vegas United. What I can bring to them is just knowledge that I've gained through my coaches here and my experiences here, so see how it goes.
Other than being a rebel on the court, Rolda is taking her leadership skills into the healthcare administration field.
My parents were already in healthcare. Just seeing how my parents were able to make an impact in helping people. I mean, I would say that I am very similar in that way, and I've always wanted to help people. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do that growing up, but as I got older, it just kind of stuck out. Like, healthcare administration was just something that really stuck out to me. I think this community is very strong, and I think there's a lot of room for growth, and especially in the healthcare field, there's a lot of opportunities, especially for what I want to do.
The City of Lights is Rolda's new home.
I want to stay in Las Vegas just because when I moved here, I just had a sense of independence, and I think that I didn't get to experience that as much when I was at home. That also helped me fall in love with the city. I just think that being on my own and figuring things out here is really going to help me succeed.
After playing 2 years for UNLV, Rolda is leaving with the Forever Rebel family.
I would say one thing that I'm going to miss is simply just coming to the locker room and seeing all the girls. I mean, it sounds very simple and cheesy, but we've grown to be a family, and I think that seeing everyone every day, I mean, that has just become a routine ever since I got here, and I think that the amount of support that we have for each other is just tremendous, and I think that that's definitely one thing I'm gonna miss, is just seeing everyone's faces every day.
Antoinette will finish her volleyball career in South Dakota, playing in the Women's National Invitational Volleyball Championship with UNLV. This is also the team's second consecutive year playing in the tournament. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Karina. Hey, did you know that UNLV is the only team entering this tournament on a winning note?
Wow. Well, good luck to the Rebels as they take on Kansas City in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all that we have time for today. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to tune in next week as we will be having our last show of the season.
Also, make sure to follow us on all of our social medias, Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Report UNLV.
That's right. Now, everyone in Vegas, get cozy with this lovely weather as we get the countdown for Christmas starting now.
And let's not forget, the Fremont Cannon stays red.
Ooh.
Now we'll leave you with the plays of the week.
Bye.